What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on this week's episode of Teen Mom 2. If you're wondering how I stay up to date with the show from abroad, the answer is ExpressVPN. I just purchased a VPN and then went on mtv.ca to watch the episode. If you're interested in doing the same, I've got an affiliate link down below to help you catch up with the show, and if you'd like, it'll also support my channel as well. Anyway, so let's get into this recap. Leah is backstage at the reunion that we saw last year, speaking to her sister and friend about how uncomfortable she was with Jeremy getting up on stage to insult Cory's fatherhood because he didn't go to Allie's appointments. And so her friend, who had, by the way, some of the most beautifully colored hair I have ever seen, started talking crap about Cory, as if she didn't just hear her friend talk about how uncomfortable it makes her to hear people talk poorly about her baby daddy and like the fear that it will create conflict in their relationship. I was like, what kind of friend are you? She just told you how uncomfortable this stuff makes her feel. And then her sister tried to chime in as well. And then Jeremy pops up out of the blue and proceeds to attack Cory also. It's really ironic to me that Jeremy goes, I don't want to see the twins get hurt, but when he divorced Leah, he and Leah both agreed for him to ghost these children, you know, that were attached to him for a couple of years while they were with his mom. After the divorce, it was, I don't know you, like Mariah Carey. And now that he's banging Leah again, now all of a sudden he acknowledges their existence. Whereas for a couple of years, it was not like that at all. And I could imagine that that is a lot more confusing and hurtful than Cory not going to 2 appointments a year. It feels like Jeremy is just trying to deflect from the fact that his child, ever since she's been able to speak, has always been talking about how much she misses her daddy because he is not home much. Granted, it's because he works, but still, it feels like that is the reason why he is going so hard on Cory, who he knows damn well is an incredibly active father. Now, in Florida, Briana goes to her friend Shirley's mom's house to complain that Louis stopped trucking and now lives locally in Orlando, Florida, but is still not visiting his daughter or even trying to speak with her on the phone. So she decides that they need to pop up on him at the DJ gig to confront him about being a deadbeat father. Back in New York again at the reunion situation, Jade's mom is a complete weirdo. Remember that random meltdown she had at the reunion special? Well, it continued on backstage, sure enough, and Jade, in my opinion, was very calm with her because the mom was upset. She felt as though she was being portrayed incredibly negatively. And so Jade said, listen, no one is forcing you to get up on stage. If you feel like that's the way you're being portrayed, it's okay for you to just say that you don't want to do it. And I felt like, you know, that's a really great thing for her to say, but her mom started flipping out. She was like, don't disrespect me, don't talk to me like that. And then she just screams at this child. And it was just so disproportionate to like what it was that Jade was saying. Like, Jade did not disrespect her in any sense of the word. And so I really feel as though her mom is jealous of her being in the spotlight. And so her daughter saying to her that, like, you know, you don't have to do this, set her off because she felt like she was a big part of the show when she got her little moment in the spotlight. Miss Thang was back there ranting and raving, incredibly upset, but not too upset to let some perfectly good food go to waste. So she packed up 2 little doggy bags of food and screamed her way out of the room. I didn't like it when she returned and started to like get buck with Jade, like chest to chest. And Jade was 100% right when she told her, I'm your kid. Stop yelling at me like I'm some random bitch off the street. Like, what was going on in her mom's mind, I will never know. It seemed like she just was projecting some random, like, you know, fit of jealousy and rage that was just completely unnecessary and downright trashy. Now, I know I say this every season, you guys, but I truly forgot how annoying Cole and Chelsea's voices are. You know, I know there are bigger problems in the world. People are dying every day, but they're leaving me to listen to Chelsea and Cole speak like babies. And I don't know, it seems a little bit unfair. I'm just saying. The two of them talk about how shaken up they've been ever since the burglary. A detective allegedly called Chelsea, asked her to come down to the station to identify some items. Maybe they're hers and Cole's from the break-in that they had, etc., etc. Now, in Delaware, Kail is confirming on the show that she moved her kids further away from their active fathers and their school to be close to Chris, who has no interest in his son. And it hit me as incredibly depressing, you know, like you have all of this and like this is what you do with it. You've got these dedicated dads, you've got so much yourself, you know, at the time to offer someone. And this is the person you choose to waste it all on. My heart truly does hurt, especially knowing that she currently is in the process of building a new home to move again, because, you know, her plan to lock Chris down didn't exactly work out, you know, especially not with that second child. Now, she talks to her producer about a rumor that she heard that Chris got another woman pregnant. And I was gagging at the thought of Chris giving Creed a hood twin. You know, a hood twin is when you've got like kids that are about the same age, but by different moms. And so like, it just reminded me of the time when Kail was trying to fight Briana and then she called Briana Jerry Springer. I was like, sis, here you are about to potentially have a hood twin and you were calling Briana Jerry Springer? Projection much? She says that if the rumor is true, then it would destroy any chance that she and Chris have of getting back together. And I was like, sis, how do you get back together with someone you were never together with in the first place? It doesn't make any kind of sense, but I guess this will be the straw that breaks the camel's back, even though the camel never really existed. Back down in Florida, I really love Briana's banter with Shirley in the car. Like everybody needs a ride or die friend like Shirley, ready to beat down a deadbeat. The two of them get to the club, and the more Hennessy Briana drank, the more she went from angry to downright thirsty and pathetic. She texts Lewis a passive-aggressive hello and gets ready to shoot her shot out back with him. And then we head back over to West Virginia, where Cory angrily texts Leah about the reunion situation and calls Jeremy out for barely seeing his own daughter. He then sits down with his friends to vent about the situation, and I know how much he hates filming, so it must have really hit him hard to agree to have his own scene taped about it. You know what I mean? So I'm proud of him for coming out of like hiding or his like little retirement from the Teen Mom 2 world to clear the air about his fatherhood. But you know, you guys, I am a little bit curious about why that is that he can't take 2 days off. It really is just 2 days, but again, I'm not very well versed in what it is that he does for work and labor laws where he's at. So, but I do know that he is a very dedicated father. So I feel like even though I don't really get it, 2 days, why he can't take them, I believe him that if he could, he would, because he's always been there since day one. Up north in Indiana, Jade and Sean get into a fight and he decides to punish her by not going to their daughter Chloe's birthday party. So he texts Jade something like, "Tell my daughter I say happy birthday," in true deadbeat fashion. Then we're quickly whisked back to Delaware, where Lux was rocking the cutest little bun ever. And then Kail gets a text from Chris's alleged baby mama, who taunts her about the baby allegedly being due in February, which I don't believe is true because we're way past February at this point. So if it were true, it would have come out by now with a woman who seems as messy as that woman via text. She truly was taunting Kail, you guys. It was very mean-spirited the way that she spoke to her. Guys, what was up with Kail's friend? She looked old enough to be her mom. This Natalie woman apparently lives with Kail and acts as some sort of nanny to Kail's kids, and she lives with Kail with her own child as well. The situation is weird. Kail always has weird situations with her friends where, like, you know, they're squatting in her home and stuff, and I don't know. I think that is a kind of an interesting way to live your life, but I digress. She then talks about how upset she is at the thought of this being real and Chris and this woman being petty enough to keep this alleged other child away from Lux. She's like, I want all of my kids to be around their siblings. You know, I was never around my siblings, so I don't want them to grow up the same way. And she's like, as much as I hate Lauren, I would even want that for Lincoln too. If something were to happen with Javi, I would work with her to make sure that he saw, you know, his brother, Eli. And, you know, I was like, sis, why do you hate Lauren so much? All she did was tell the truth about you once in a private text message that you had no right to read anyway. Like, let it go. You've said a lot of nasty things about her, so consider yourselves even at this point. And by the way, I don't for a second believe her little spiel about wanting to keep siblings together. Remember how quick she was to discount Joe's daughter when she was upset at Joe for wanting child support from her? Pepper Ridge Farm remembers. Shuffling down south to South Dakota, Chelsea and Cole are on their way to the police station to potentially identify the items that were stolen from their house the other year. Yeah, like this scene was a little bit interesting to me because Chelsea didn't really seem to have a good grasp of her face. So Cole asks her if she's feeling okay, and she's looking at him like all groggy, and like her eyes are doing these weird things. And then she just like has like a weird smile. And then, you know, granted here, I'm going to give her a pass because he goes, do you think it's going to like fix things or something? I was like, what kind of dumb question is that? I would snap too if someone asked me a dumb question like that. So I got it at that point. But, you know, I wonder if things are going okay with Chelsea, because that scene was a little bit weird in my opinion. Now in Florida again, Briana confronts Louis out back about his deadbeat nature, and per usual, he has a new temporary job and promises to see his child, which we know won't, you know, happen. He says that he feels ashamed that he can't provide, and Briana tells him that he doesn't need to provide. Nothing but that D, because it's clearly what she's after. I know foreplay when I see it. Guys, I thought it was really nice for Leah to speak to Allie about Cory coming to her appointments, but I felt as though she asked Allie a leading question. She said, do you want daddy to come to your appointments? I feel like she should have just asked her in general how she felt about her appointments, and then like, you know, come to a conclusion of how she felt about that from there. But listen, I do think that it was a really wonderful conversation that she had with Allie. I thought it was really sweet of her to be like, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't know it would be important to you. The reason that mommy comes to them and not daddy is because I have a very flexible work schedule. I am able to go, but daddy, you know, he's got a regular 9-to-5 job, so it's difficult for him. So I felt like that was a really important conversation to have about why she goes and why Cory doesn't. You know, it's not that he doesn't love her as much as Leah does. It's because he works a traditional job, whereas Leah is on Teen Mom. Back up north in Indiana, Sean surprises everyone by just popping up at Chloe's birthday party, and he brings this gift, which is like a plank to measure how tall she's been getting over the years. I believe he made it. I hope he took the rusty nails out on the other side, but I thought it was a really cute gesture, and I always love that for kids. It's crazy how quickly they grow, so it's nice to like have those kinds of memories there. And so he notices that his grandparents are at the birthday party, and he flips out and exits stage left, cursing Jade out for not giving him a heads up. I don't know what transpired between him and his grandparents, but I understand why Jade would have invited them thinking that Sean wasn't coming. It's like, you have a problem with them and you're not coming to your own daughter's birthday party anyway, so here, let them come. They've never done anything to me and they've never done anything to my daughter. Like, your issue with them is between you and them. Do you guys feel as though Jade should have at least given him a little bit of a heads up in case he were to appear? I'm a little bit on the fence. I felt like he was just so dramatic about them being there. In South Dakota, again, Cole and Chelsea leave the police station where none of their items were found, and I honestly felt as though that entire scene was faked for a storyline. I feel as though, you know, a producer pretended to be a cop asking them to go to the station to, you know, pick out their stuff in a line or whatever, like just to give her a little bit more content, because Adam has been incredibly quiet over the years, and what else is there really for her to talk about at this point? Now, in the final scene of the episode, Briana is still outside of the club crying to Louis, asking if he wants to be together. Who child, this is why I don't drink dark liquor. Look at how pathetic you get. Like, you really turn into a damn fool. This girl was literally begging her deadbeat baby daddy, who literally left their child for dead. Remember, Stella was having heart problems. Like, she went through surgery as a baby, and this man was nowhere to be found. And you're over here like, are you intimidated by me? Do you want us to be together? You should have kept trying to like get together. Like, you didn't try hard enough. Where you live at? Like, pathetic. Like, I want to gag at how pathetic this is. And especially when you think about the way she treats Devon. You know, Devon actually comes around for Nova, and he, you know, even is there for Stella. He brings gifts to Stella for her birthday. Her dad doesn't even do that, show up or bring a gift. You know what I mean? You have to pay him to show up to see this child. And you talk down to him like a damn dog. But meanwhile, this guy doesn't care if you or your child are dead or alive. And what do? You throw that cat at him? Really, girl? Really sad, embarrassing. I really hope that she is ashamed of herself for the way that she handled that situation. I mean, really, how do you go from, you know, me and my friend are gonna like blow up his spot and confront him about being a deadbeat, to being like, oh, I wanna bend it like Beckham for you when we get back home, in like the span of 2 seconds. Like, it's really, my mind was blown at how stupid she looked. And so they go home together, and we already know that she catches an STD from him. And I'm like, listen, why would you even want to go to this guy's apartment? He can't hold down a steady job. So who knows like what kind of place he's even living in? You know what I mean? And like, this guy is just so like gross looking and lazy. that I imagine that his house is as dirty as his D. You know what I mean? Like his house probably still has those crickets that Briana unleashed in there like a couple of years ago. That is how gross he seems to me and how lazy he seems to me. But I guess, listen, she likes it. I love it for her. Anyway, you guys, that's a recap of what went down on this week's episode of Teen Mom 2. And as usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything. So please make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.